We come to the consent agenda, which contains items of a routine nature, passed by single vote. Are there any items on the consent agenda anyone would like removed?
The last one.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 5?
Second.
It's moved by Ms. Howard, seconded by Ms. Krummeller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. Next, we'll take up Resolution 16354, resolution recommending invasive species do not plant list. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller, seconded by Ms. Krummeller. And Mr. Simon?
Yeah, my comment on this is I'm not going to pretend to be fully informed on invasive species. That's a huge task, but I did a little bit of looking into it because I'm a gardener, and so this stuff is kind of interesting to me. And it looks to me like this is the most expansive invasive species list out there. And so we're actually encouraging people to not plant anything on the broadest possible list, and one that looks to me like it might have gotten a little bit ahead of the consensus in the community. I'm not sure. This is what I think I'm seeing so far. And what caught my eye is there is a popular bush called the butterfly bush that is all over town, and it's on the list. It's all over town in gardens. It's on the list. One of the things that I noticed was it's listed as highly invasive on the strike force or strike team's website, but in the 2 reports we have on invasive species actually making into our parks and open space, it didn't make it in, even though it's been in town for at least a decade and more, because it's been in town since I've been here, all over in gardens. So, and also the New York invasive species list listed as low priority, not high, and medium is the cutoff under there in New York for do not plant. And so there's like 140 species that are more invasive than that according to New York. New Jersey State has a much smaller list, but it's not a good one, and it's generally viewed by the community as poor. So I didn't really use that as a reference. But I'm struggling with the fact that I think this list, I'm very supportive of the idea of a do not plant list, but I think maybe what might be better for Princeton would be to take all the plants that are listed in the 2 reports, the one from last week and the one from the report we got 2 years ago from Michael Van Clough. There's a bunch of species in there. Just put all those on a Princeton-specific do not plant list. Or maybe just have somebody from staff talk to Michael and see, look, maybe I'm not quite right on this, but I feel uncomfortable with the list as it just seems like I might not even comply with it. And so I'm struggling with, recommending it as the policy for the town.
Okay. I agree with it. I mean, based on what you just said, I now have reservations about it.
And I'm uncertain. I'm not saying I'm definitely against.
I understand.
These are suggestions.
I would recommend, though, that if we can add a line in there, I mean, I know, like, Mike doesn't work for the town, but if there's somebody on staff who we can refer to in the resolution after the list is reviewed by X or vetted by X. I mean, this is a list that Mike recommended we use at our meeting last week.
I have tremendous respect for him and his work. I struggled with trying to.
I thought it was. It's almost like it was so long that it makes it less useful. I mean, because no one's going to read the whole list before they go into the store, and the stores
It's really intended for isn't it most useful to the stores?
So that makes.
So the resolution has us send this to stores, to landscapers, and also I think what we would have most control over are subcommittees like the landscape committee of the planning board, because we would want them to look at this when they see plans, and also to the recreation department when they're choosing plants for a park and all of that. But I think Mr. Simon makes a good point. I mean, we could hold it another week and check with Mike and see if this is the list he recommends. I think for a resolution, if we wanted to have lasting value, it would be useful to be able to have it refer to a list that is being...
That we don't maintain.
That we don't maintain, and that does not require a ton of... I mean, we don't want to be reinventing the wheel.
I thought that this was a state. I thought he's going to send us the state list.
This is the list. I asked Ben Stentz to contact Mike and have him send the list that he would recommend. So this is the list that came from Mike through Ben.
And this is the one that he referred to last week when he said there's
Yeah.
a list on the website
Correct.
of the New Jersey Invasive Species Strike Team. That this is that list.
Correct.
The problem for me just trying to understand the list was when there's...
Your point is well taken. So my recommendation would be that we hold this till next week, or till the 19th, and we just go back to Mike with the concern that this list seems overly broad, and see if he has a recommendation.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
I think there's also a Rutgers professor who's on the New Jersey DEP invasive species team. They may be able to also just tell us whether, no, this is the best thinking or not.
Right, there might be one on the Rutgers website or something somewhere that's...
The good news is that I don't think even the most avid gardener is probably not out there planting stuff in the next 2 weeks. So, especially if it snows, so I think we have some time. All right, so do we need to table this?
We have a number of master gardeners on the Shade Tree Commission, and I'm wondering if they ought to take a look at this.
Sure, I'd be happy to hear their input.
I think the goal is, like Liz said, to point to another list. We don't want to come up with our own individual
I
list.
think we come up with our own,
Yeah.
take a look at it from the standpoint of shortening it and making it more pertinent to the kinds of things that people would deal with when they work on their properties.
Right, but in an ideal world, we would have a list that we could point to that is an existing list that we think has the right.
Right, I think you want to incorporate by reference that list so that as it changes, the recommendations change, yeah.
Well, so for example, the next best list that I found is the one on the New York invasive species information website, which is a state run. Unlike New Jersey, they're actually out in front of it. And they've got a really good list posted, and including priorities, very high, high, medium, low. And it's just, that I found much more helpful just in terms of understanding the severity of the issue.
Okay. All right, so we will hold this till the 19th.
Are
Okay?
you making a motion to amend to table this resolution? Because you made a motion.
So who introduced it? Do you want to just withdraw the introduction? Or?
I believe I did it.
I might have done it. Did I?
Bernie made the motion and Jenny second, so.
All right. So do you want to withdraw your motion? Can we just do it that way?
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay. Okay. And I believe we're done with closed session. All right. Is there a motion to
I
adjourn?
moved.
So moved. Yeah, look at
All right.
this
All in favor?
Aye.
thing. A lot of repairs on here.
I
And
know,
they're all
I
all
know.
along Witherspoon Street.
I know, I saw that before. It was so funny.
And I can't think of the number of people who planted Cruiser dogwoods also.
I know,
Very popular.
I know. I think I might have.
I've got one.
I know.